put a lot of attention on this kind of subject, and we know that recently you have improved a lot the way you build pickups and the production, the way you produce them. How did this influence you, the way a pickup sound? How the way the pickup is built gets an effect on the way the pickup sounds?
Most things that are electronic actually have a physical signature. So let me say that without becoming too technical or too boring. If, for example, you have an old Fender amplifier and you have with a hand-wired circuit, and you have a new Fender wire which uses a circuit board, those two amplifiers will sound different. Now, according to the engineering, they should really be very much the same. The capacitance is the same, the resistance is the same, the transformers are the same. But when you physically take those things and assemble them, they are actually quite different and different in different places. And since we've been building pickups all along, the experiment has been to continue modifying the ideas and making improvements based on physical construction. You know, and in some cases, in audio equipment, Marshall amplifiers, which I like the sound of Marshall, is not a particularly technical wonder. It sounds the way it does because they build them a particular way. And it's not, you know, you could get better transformers and better capacitors, for example, and change the sound, but the sound would not be better on stage. It might be technically better, less distortion or this or that, but that's not what we want. We're musicians, and so what comes in here affects what comes out here, what comes out the speaker, so it's all part of this cycle. And those are the things that we began to do with the coils and you know, and how we work with the magnetic fields in the coils.
How many players have a precise idea of the sound they want to get from a specific pickup, or when they ask you to build something for them, they already have a clear idea, or they rely on your suggestions?
Almost everything that we do is trial and error. And of course we start out with, oh, I want more output, or oh, I'd like more sustain here in this area. So the players have become far more sophisticated. For example, when I first started out with the Super Distortion, I was the guitar player. I played with Gene Simmons. Gene liked the way my guitar sounded. I receive a phone call from Ace Frehley. Gene says, I got to get your pickups. Who are you? 1973, you know. Okay, so I deliver a bag of pickups, you know, and then, you know, and he puts them in the guitar and he likes the way they sound. But this was my sound. This was my idea of what a pickup should sound like. I think we've gone, you know, we go in two directions a lot of times. We do what Steve and I like to do sometimes, maybe 60% of the time, and then the other times we just simply, you know, say, you know, you're the artist, you know, you're breaking new ground, you're looking to do new and different things. You know, so we just try to make sure that the pickups and the electronics work very closely. In particular, two projects recently. Number one, Andy Timmons' project. We've worked with Andy for a long time. We've made him a custom bridge pickup for a long time. And he specifically received samples, continued to change, continued to modify, until he now says, this is what I really want it to sound like. You know. Also the project with John Petrucci. We've worked very closely with John for, you know, his entire career. And the only thing that's really remained consistent in John's system is the DiMarzio pickups. He's changed guitars, he's changed amplifiers, but we've continued to stay, in the team of I'm looking for various things. And so this year now we released the new pickups with John. And they were worked on for a very long time, but again, put a sample in the guitar, take the guitar back to our workshop, replace the pickups, bring it back to the studio, and then he would take them out and play, on tour with one of the extra guitars with the new pickups. So a lot of what we do is really tested in the studio and tested live before the final versions are done. And in a situation like John, my attitude is, we'll build anything that, that you'd like us to do, because it expands, my capability.
Yeah.
And I find that I'm learning a lot all the time. I was at the Ibanez show recently, and and I'm listening to the way these guys play their guitars, and I'm like, Leo Fender never would have thought that Jimi Hendrix would do what Jimi Hendrix did. But in the case of DiMarzio, we know exactly, and we're there. I mean, I can't play with these guys, because I don't practice enough anymore. But the point is, at least I come from the standpoint of view of I could sit there and I could play guitar and I could get the guitar to sound a certain way. So I'm 80% of the way there, as opposed to simply being a technical engineering designer.
Okay.
And and I like the challenge of doing something new. So.
Thank you, Larry.
Grazie. A pleasure to be here in Italy. My God, the food's amazing. The wine is amazing. And I'm going to have to go back to Montana and go on a diet.